All right. It is 6 o'clock on May 19th, 2026, and I will pull the mic forward. There we go. And I will call the meeting of the Finance and Administration Committee to order. I am Councilmember Johnson. We have Councilmember Holloway here. Councilmember Washington has asked to be excused. All right. Without objection, we'll consider Councilmember Washington excused. We also have Finance Director Boutte here, City Attorney, and the Mayor, and CD Director as well. CDE, maybe we should start calling her. Then we have the agenda approval. Are there any amendments that the committee would like to make to the agenda?
No, I do want an addition discussion, but it's under the best activity.
Okay. Mayor?
Yes, in your agenda packet was a presentation regarding Summit Law.
Yes.
It's not on the agenda. We just like to add to your agenda a discussion of that presentation.
It is on this version of the agenda.
I didn't know. It's in the package. It's not listed in the agenda. So we need to put it somewhere in the agenda to discuss the presentation that's down below. I'm sorry. I finally caught up with you because it was like, where'd that come from? It's not on the list.
So
It's on this list. City Attorney?
I guess I'm not gonna go into the weeds. There's software issues with Muni code, and this has happened before where
Okay.
things are appearing in one place and not in another. It is on staff's radar and we are looking at
Okay.
other software things. So sorry for the hiccup, but if clarify that it is
All right.
item number 4.
Excellent. We will make sure that it is included as item number 4.
No objection.
Well,
Unless it needs to be somewhere else.
4.5. That's what there's already item number 4. You can have us.
Yes.
Okay.
Okay.
4.5.
To clarify, in the version I'm looking at, it is after item number 3, and then item number 5 is listed as the flood event update.
Okay. 3.5.
Yeah.
3.5. Okay. Got it.
City Attorney.
And this is an issue. I don't know. I'm not an IT person. It has to do with the PDF or HTML. I'm guessing you're in the HTML version of it. So it appears as number 4 in the HTML version, but not in the PDF version.
Okay. So we'll have some sort of a to-do item around that. It's administration's issue. Yes, Mayor.
Yeah. Oh, no, we're painfully aware of it. It has to do with the version of Muni code that we're on is now obsolete and we're having to move. It's no longer, sorry, obsolete's the wrong word. It's no longer supported. So there are issues in it that they're not fixing. They want us to move to the new version, which we're doing, but that takes just some time. And as you're aware, we've just got our city clerk. And so we're just, we're moving through it. It's just some staffing. We're well aware it's not, it's just some work that we need to get through. They're trying very hard to double check everything to make sure that, these little mistakes aren't cropping in, and we'll keep doing that. But soon as soon as we're able to get onto the new version of the software, this problem will go away.
Okay. Thank you. All right. Then the next item is, any other changes to the agenda? Okay, then we will consider the agenda approved as amended-ish. Next thing is public comments. Are there any members of the public who would like to make comment?
Guess it was a party.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I missed out on Public Works. Not seeing anyone stepping forward, we will close public comments and we'll move to the minutes. Are there any changes that the
I'm
committee would
good
like
with
to
the
make?
minutes as presented.
All right, then we will consider the minutes from specifically May 5th, 2026 of the F&A committee to be approved. Next is the approval of warrants and claims. I have not received any questions about the claims report.
I have no questions.
All right, then we'll consider those to be, yes.
Just want to get something on the record.
Okay.
The subject of the claims approval report states approval of payments for the period April 22nd, 2025 through May 7th, 2026. That would be quite the magic trick if it
Yeah.
covered the entire year for the most part, but that's not the case. So it's really April the 22nd, 2026 through May 7th, 2026.
Okay,
Just want to be clear on that.
I'm sure that will be fixed by the time we get to council. All right, then we'll consider those to be ready to move forward to council on the consent agenda. All right, we sort of have an agenda bill that's currently listed under this discussion. So we'll move down to that. That's item number 3, which is discussion of AB 26-021, a 2025-2026 biennial budget amendment, which has to do with another FTE position at Community Development Department. So Councilmember Hallway, you're the one who wanted to bring this, so
So
what did you have?
my understanding is the position is not only to support in city planning, but also to do economic development activities? Is that correct? Come on up and join the party. Talk to us.
Community and Economic Development Director Davis.
Sorry, I would have come to that by you from the beginning. But it's not so much working on planning things, though it is in the Community and Economic Development Department. It's kind of its own separate area for economic development and human services. Currently, we don't have anybody running any of the human services organizations, so we're hoping to get somebody on board to do that. And then we don't have anybody really overseeing, tracking our retail vacancies, for example. And let me just read this here really quick. Engaging with the Chamber of Commerce, creating business partnerships in our community. And then it would also provide like economic data to the city, to the mayor, to the council, for growth, monitoring vacancies in our retail business park, assess demand on the types of businesses that we want here in the city, and look for opportunities to retain not only our existing businesses that are here, but to try to bring in new businesses.
I wonder, as part of that, would it be also looking at the stock of businesses that we do have and looking for key gaps, corner types of businesses, not corner like physically speaking, but cornerstone businesses that may be lacking? Mayor?
Yeah, absolutely, exactly right. Also, looking at ways we can help our individual businesses succeed. So individual businesses advertise for themselves. If we think of just in the case of restaurants, say, many of the restaurants, actually all the restaurants in Snoqualmie that my wife and I go to, we like, but we don't like going to the same one every night. So if we can do a better job, we can do a job then as a city of trying to help advertise our retail groups and try to attract folks in ways that individual businesses can't do. So we can help them do that as a group. For example, we have our Downtown Merchants Association. How do we help that association succeed? So all of these kind of things that we're talking about collectively sort of add up to a full-time job that we want to do. And it's all activities that we're not doing right now. And then just to make sure that it got mentioned, we're also have no one on staff assigned to look after the human services budget. As you all know, we grant that out to human services organizations, but we have no one right now doing the task of monitoring performance, of monitoring changes in need to help guide what the requests might be next year as we go through, or this year as we go through the budget cycle. Where have the needs changed? How have we assessed that, bring that information forward? So there's a whole set of information of work in sort of economic development and human services that all of this would go on to that position.
I remember correctly that also there could be a grant writing.
Oh, sorry, I meant to mention that as,
Me too.
Mayor.
yeah, I meant to write that. There are an enormous number of grants. Now, granted, the environment for grants is a lot different than it was just a few years ago. Having said that, there are many grants available for economic development. We don't have anyone with the bandwidth or the job description of going and chasing those grants. That's where we can really leverage our money into much better outcomes. So we want a reasonable portion of this person's job to be grant writing.
Councilmember
Okay,
Holloway.
So we just had a weekend telling me got no money. And I've been through multiple economic development personnel, consultants, whatever. And tell you the truth, my opinion is the growth that happened when we didn't have them on staff. So I'm concerned past performance has been negligible for these kind of resources. So I'm looking for a commitment that says at the end of 2 years, our economic development will have exceeded inflation by something. That we get some benefit beyond just inflation for having an economic development person on staff. And if we're not making that metric, we reconsider the position. Okay, so I want some incentive for economic development, not for, I'm sorry, occasionally it was more of a party position than it was an actual go recruit businesses into the community. Okay, that's my concern. I don't want another non-value added position. I want to make sure that it's clearly stated up front. There will be value added as a result, and it's some percentage above the PCI of economic development. How you want to measure that, B&O, sales taxes, I don't care, just tell me. And then we look at it in 2 years and decide if the position continues. Sound reasonable?
Mayor.
Absolutely reasonable. I love this. This is absolutely what we should do. In fact, I think that what I will commit to, if this position is funded as the mayor is, within 3 months, we will come back to, I guess, whichever committee you want us to come back to, or the full council, and we will tell you the metrics that we're intending to use to measure at the end of that 2-year period and along the way. And make sure that we have an agreement with the council. Yep, those look like acceptable metrics. And then we will measure and report them along the way, but certainly at the end of 2 years so that reassessment can be made then. We absolutely should be expecting outcomes that we can measure, that we can see that we're spending this money, we're getting that the community's getting something for that money. So completely agree.
Okay, we at least state that plan in the agenda bill coming up.
Mayor?
Yeah, Mayor.
Yes, so let's make sure the agenda bill, let's amend that before
Or
Monday.
haven't amended, we can't amend it because it's
a-
already been introduced. We'll need to amend it in the council. So can you have a substitute ready at council?
Great.
At least
We will
stating
do that. And what we will add to it is, let me make sure I got that right. I just got a little confused there. We're adding to it the commitment for.
3 months for stated metric of
Yes.
performance.
All right.
I
Director-
would have preferred you told me 5%, Tuesday you told me 5% above PCA measured by sales tax, but I'll give 3 months to do the study and understand what's going on.
So Director Davis, can you help me make sure that happens? Because that's the commitment I just made. That's the commitment we're making. So let's get that in the agenda bill. Okay.
Yes.
Okay. Anything else on that item? All right, then. That takes us to the new-ish item number 4, Summit Law presentation. And I believe that City Attorney is going to guide us through this.
Yes, thank you, Chair. Second, I'm trying to share my screen. All right. Great. Good evening, Chair, Mayor, Committee. I'm Dina Burke. I'm your city attorney, and this is, I think we're calling it the 2-step internally. It's basically you get the sneak preview of an item that we are proposing and with your permission would bring forward to a future Finance and Administration Committee. And that is our engagement agreement with Summit Law. Summit Law is the law firm that we use that specializes in employment law and union-related legal issues. As we've been onboarding some new contract software, we discovered that the last time we entered an engagement letter with Summit Law was in 2016. And so we want to update that. Summit Law specializes in representing and advising government agencies on all issues related to employment law. And as you heard a lot of at the council retreat, we're as a full service city, we have a lot of unique employment situations. We have 3 unions at the city. And so Summit Law helps us with ensuring that the city has solid legal representation, that the city's interests are protected, and that we're engaging in the best practices when it comes to employment law. The engagement letter would be for the remainder of 2026 and would have a not to exceed amount of 205,000 for the year of 2026. If you heard me say the remainder of 2026, you might be wondering, what about 27 and 28? The idea is that in either late 2026 or early 2027, we would bring forward a new engagement letter that would cover that biennial budget of 2027 and 2028. We don't know yet what that number would be because we're going through that budget process. Happy to answer any questions.
Councilmember Holloway.
So our last engagement letter was in 2016.
Yes.
What have we been doing in the meantime?
We have been using Summit Law, and I believe the amounts have been approved via the budget process, but it has not been brought back to council in terms of the actual contract.
For 216, comparable to $216,000?
Per year? I'm sorry, I don't understand the question.
So I guess we've been engaging Summit Law on a basically, excuse the pun, case by case basis in the past from 2016 on, correct? And because usually the singular activities are less than 25 to 50,000, it hasn't come back to council for authorization.
Mayor.
I don't know what the logic was that was used. I'm not sure that Attorney Burke does either, but my logic, since I've become the mayor, is clear. I believe that the council's instructions are crystal clear about which contracts they must approve, and that's what we're going to do. So that's what we're doing now. That's what we're going to do, certainly the entire time that I'm the mayor. So we didn't do a deep dive into what was the logic behind this, or
Okay.
what was the reasoning. All we know is this thing is over 50,000. We're coming to you.
So in some years prior, pick a number, I don't care. What was our average spend with Summit Law?
I would need to look that up. So that could be a homework question that I come back.
Okay, I
back
mean,
with.
is 205,000 more, less, in line?
Yeah.
That's the attorney.
It's, this is more, and that's due to the fact that we have a lot, I think just the way the stars have aligned in terms of union negotiations. This is a year that everything is going, everything everywhere all at once. So this is a larger number than prior years, but I don't remember off the top of my head how much we've spent in prior years in Summit Law.
So,
Let me add to that.
Mayor.
And just remember that there were years where we completely outsourced the legal department, and that was to Summit Law. So it's likely, but we know the numbers, that we can go find those numbers out for you.
right, and I can say,
Councilmember Holloway.
sorry. I understand bringing Summit Law in for those, contract negotiations, everything else. I've got the background and everything for. Is that what we're bringing them? I caught that the statement was more than just union contract negotiation support. So I understand bringing them in for that. I don't understand bringing them in for general HR issues. Help me do that jump.
City attorney.
So because of the limited capacity of the legal department with only the one in-house attorney, Summit Law is generally what's utilized for basically almost all employment law questions.
Yeah, I would wonder if if potentially a past administration could look at each individual thing and think, ah, for this, it's under the amount. For this specific thing, it's under the amount. I don't know. But regardless, this is clearly over 50,000, so come to council, it does.
Yeah.
Okay, I think that covered my questions by as well. I had kind of similar questions along those lines. One other thing was I did see the amount and I realized that this is the two steps, so maybe there are some things that are coming in this direction, but how are we paying for this? Is it fund balance? Is that figured out? Mayor?
This is within the budget you've approved.
Got it. So within
And
the
when we
range.
bring the agenda bill, we'll show you that.
Excellent. Okay, anything else on that?
Agenda bill will come in 2 weeks. Okay.
City Attorney?
So the plan would be, with your permission, to bring the agenda bill that would have the engagement letter in 2 weeks. And then is it all right to have the Councilmember Holloway's homework question answered about going back maybe, I don't know how many years in terms of how much we've spent approximately annually on
Yeah,
Summit Law?
in 2 weeks.
Okay,
Sounds good.
great, thank you.
Excellent. Okay, next thing is the flood event update, where it said no update, but sometimes no update means there's at least something small sometimes. Mayor?
Yeah, no change from the report 2 weeks ago. As you remember, 2 weeks ago, I think we were talking about the fact that a FEMA report had been filed and it was filed on time. No developments over the last 2 weeks, no increase in amounts that we're aware of. We're now just, that process is playing out. So I did commit to you that until this is finished, I would report to you every 2 weeks. And so this is just telling you, nothing happened over the last 2 weeks.
All right.
Same story, or same numbers,
I just
same
died
status.
in China eating hamburgers.
Yeah.
So I mean, yeah, never mind. It's not gonna-
All right. Next thing is the discussion of potential best land use in unincorporated King County.
So
Councilmember Hallway?
yeah, I don't know if you saw a copy. Oh, yeah, you did. I think you saw a copy. So we had a discussion in Parks Public Works with some caveats, the citizens markup. We had discussion and gave that the attorney to review and as appropriate incorporate. Have that discussion coming up to council. Primarily, you've got it, you've read it. I'm not gonna go through it. Some of it is, a lot of it is good feedback. And we ought to consider it. Some of it is, again, we're not in compliant, we're not out of compliance with GMA. Although this kind of states that we are and we should be funded for getting back in compliance, but we're not out of compliance for GMA. It's an ongoing. It just says you have a plan to address the growth targets and housing targets as coming down from on high. And we do. And we'll update that when it's comp plan and everything else. So
It's a
that
bit
was,
of a word
that was
issue.
the only big issue from what was volunteered from community moving forward. So take a look. We'll probably take a look at a potential substitution for the moratorium resolution come council with these markups incorporated.
And I would assume that this thing before I say that. Yeah, that we're gonna have a likely executive session at the round table.
We're gonna have an executive session till Christmas.
Yeah. Excellent. So we could potentially, anyway, go ahead.
Okay,
Councilmember Holloway.
there's a second subject I want to have under Bess, if we're done with this one.
I am satisfied with the status of that.
Okay. Taking over the past week, I would like to kick off a council community working group to draft a council response to the permit submittal. Incorporating membership from the community. This may be a redundant activity to what we already have coming out of administration, to what citizens may do, but I don't mind doing the more, matter of fact, if I'd get the ditto machine out and we'd start dittoing and I hand it out to everybody in the city and say, sign it and put a stamp on it and send it in. If nothing else, the weight of paper will make them think. But I don't think that's appropriate. But I do want to make sure that we don't, between those three activities, it's less chance for us to miss something in the request for review out of King County. My proposal is probably just to avoid having to notice it, that we, three council members participate in that and that we get comparable. I need to talk to the SVRG, the group, to see what they think the effective number of members on the group would be. I would have it chaired by a council member and somebody is identified out of the Suquamish citizens group. And that we meet, why I'm limiting to three is I don't know what the frequency is, where we're gonna do, but we ought to do a lot of meetings really quick. So I don't wanna have to notice them out days in advance or everything else unless we pick a room. We just say, there's a potential meeting in this room every day this week, may or may not happen. So, and so I'd like to flesh that out. I'm thinking, there's probably another agenda item we need to have on here. My idea, my baby, I'd like to be on it and potentially chair it moving forward, but you guys can advise me if you want somebody else. As far as, membership, other council members, I'm open to discussion. I think it would be weird if it was the FNA guy all showed up, and I'm not sure, time constraints
Mhm.
that might be. I'm willing, I got more vacation than I know what to do with at the moment. My wife knows what to do with it, but I don't know what to do with it. So I would like to do it, and probably at that stage, I'm thinking Testman and Cotton.
Okay. As Mayor Pro Tem, I can talk to them and see if they'd be willing. And this sounds like um, something that would be I don't know if liaison's the right word, but it would be a working group of the
Working group.
council
I'm just calling it
members.
working group.
Yeah.
It's kind of a weird
um,
animal.
Yeah, of council members. So I would wonder if this would be something that'd be subject to Mayor Pro Tem appointment with confirmation by council. Or if this would be something that just the council would do.
No, let's go ahead. Let me, at least, I want to put some structure around it. So
Right.
let me get it. I do want to have a talk with that group of
Yeah.
who, at least who they want to fill in as chair at this stage
Mhm.
from their side. There'll be a dual chair. And let me get it back to you and we'll talk appointment in next council. That was the subject we might want. Do we want to do committee appointments on the next council meeting, seeing as we have a new
I-
guy?
I am intending to attempt to do that. If it doesn't happen this time, it'll certainly happen by the next meeting. If I can't have it ready by this coming meeting, I will definitely have it ready by the next meeting after. But my intent is to have appointments done at this next meeting.
Okay, I assume I'm involved in that discussion and love to talk to you afterwards.
Yes.
About that.
Yeah.
All right. Okay. So I'll write that up. Before I officially made contact with that group and said, hey, doing this, I wanted to at least have this discussion here. And I did let, Parks and Public Works know my intent, as well as I've at least had some individual with you and Lewis only discussion of this prior to leading to this.
Right.
Okay, just as
Down to three.
stay, kept the three, staying within the OPMA.
Yeah,
So
all right.
work from there. All right, let me get you a write-up. We'll have, so when we get to council agenda, during FNA, can we have a discussion on best working group?
Okay.
The best working group.
Group where I would also love to get city attorney slash legal advice on any sort of guardrails that would be smart for the working group to stay within. Biggest concern that I have, just imagining what could be a product, would be where the council's being asked to take a position for or against a land use matter, where there could be elements that could end up coming to the council at some point
It-
for quasi judicial consideration.
Peace, and eventually would be a letter for the council to sign or revise to go to the permit reviewer.
And as I've said many times for myself, is my intent is to make sure that our citizens are heard.
Yeah.
So, all right. Anything else?
That was it. That's enough trouble for me today.
All right. Yeah, for my part, I'm mostly just interested at this point in two things. One being the moratorium, and then the second being the timeline for the 14-day comment period, which we'll find out when we find out when that'll be. Here's how
we
much
need
notice
to-
we get, but
We need to hurry scurry leading
Yeah.
up to it.
exactly, that's kind of my
If it
concern.
starts late, we can always
We-
polish things up, but in the meantime, we gotta have
Right,
it.
have something ready to go. Okay. Next thing is a discussion of anything else on that? Administration? Okay. Next thing then is a discussion of a waste management tour. So this was something that was brought up by Waste Management at our last council meeting as a potential for us to consider. I don't think that there is some urgency around trying to get this done in the next couple of weeks. It could be at some point, maybe over the summer. We could all kind of look at our calendars and pick a time when we can go and take a tour of the recycling center. I think that it kind of helps give us some background when we go into contract negotiations to understand what it is that actually goes into it, and et cetera. So I'm interested in taking them up on the offer. Any thoughts? Councilmember Hallway.
I'm sorry, I can't, my brain would shut down. It would be nice. I'd be interested to see if they'd also entertain, cause we really don't engage the public at the recycle center or the dump facility.
Mhm.
So would they entertain potentially ride-alongs for a day during garbage pickup? Cause that's really where that service has contact with the public.
Mhm.
And if that means getting up at 4
That-
AM in the morning, I assume it'd be something, dark 30 to start off with. But
But-
would they entertain the idea, and are any of us interested?
That could be a question that could be asked. And then the other thing I'd add is that there are plenty of things that affect our community that happen outside the community. Still good to be aware of.
Oh, peace, but I assume there are governance already in place over what they do at those facilities that are outside our control, and that I assume they comply.
It does help, I think, to understand when a contract proposal does come
Yeah.
in, to get a sense of what is the scale of what's going on, and have that background. But at any rate, again, I don't think that this was something that has to be done
No.
right now, but I'd like to bring this to council to just say, hey, let's start looking at our calendars and see if we can pencil in a date, and then reach out as appropriate.
Yeah, I think we have fresh fish to fry.
Yes.
Before we get to
Absolutely.
this next catch.
That's exactly right. It was more that I wanted to mention it because they just did at our recent meeting. So that's something that I'll circle back to council on, and I'll take that under advisement, the idea of reaching out for potential of ride-alongs if that's something that they're open to, which they may not be for all kinds of reasons. Could be safety reasons for all I know, but it doesn't hurt to ask. Okay. Next thing then, anything else on that?
No.
Okay. Next thing then is a discussion of PSC presentation invitation. Yeah, so last time we got a letter back from PSC when we asked, and then council, it seemed, was still interested in pursuing having a representative from PSC come and talk to the council and potentially field a little bit of Q&A from the council. And I'm just curious if administration sent out a second invite It's okay if not, just curious if that's happened yet. Yes, Mayor?
Why on earth would we have done that? We weren't asked to do that.
That's exactly right. That's why I'm saying that it's fine if that didn't happen, because that ask was not made.
Yeah,
Yes, Mayor.
we didn't.
Okay.
You
Thank
didn't
you.
do what you were not asked.
We didn't
Exactly.
do what
That's
we
all
were
I'm
not
doing. That's right.
I would
I
say,
didn't mean to imply that that was a specific ask that's been made. Apologies, Mayor.
no,
Go ahead, Mayor.
yeah, look, we can do that. I think that they've already answered. So I would think that as I understand, the council has a goal of trying to engage with PSE. And so I'm not sure that just repeatedly inviting them to something they've already declined is moving that ball forward. So I'd rather try to move that ball forward. I have had conversations. I do have conversations with PSE representatives, on an ongoing basis. I didn't make any specific request, but they are aware that you had that conversation, that you might like to hear from them again. And I encouraged them to try to find a way to meet the request that I understood the council was making. I believe they've gone back and listened to your council meeting and heard your own words, what you were asking. I have not yet heard from them. I've also heard from them that they're trying to think about, I guess they're thinking about that. I'm worried about being misunderstood.
Mhm.
I hesitate to try and speak for them. I'm just aware that what I ought to have said is they're aware of your request, and I guess I'm waiting and hopeful that we'll hear something. I'm not sure beyond that. I haven't asked for any specific thing. I've made them aware of your conversation, and I know them to be aware of your conversation.
Excellent. I think that that was the goal at this point, from my understanding of our last conversation with council, at our last council meeting, was just ensuring that Puget Sound Energy is aware that the offer still stands and will probably be standing for quite a while, for them to come and share their perspective on this, and also potentially take a little bit of Q&A. And then the ball's kind of in their court to decide how they want to respond to that. Other thoughts, Mayor?
If I could, I did add to the conversation that you all had and your request. I added my own perspective that I think our entire community would welcome some interaction with them as well. So I kind of went beyond just what you had expressed, and not that you didn't express that, but I said, my own view is that the council is not just asking on their own behalf, they're asking on behalf of the community.
All right. Anything else on that? All right.
Not for public comment. Go ahead.
Fair enough. All right, next thing is a discussion of the King County permitting invitation. Now, this came originally from Councilmember Washington, and this was for, I forgot the person's name, Leon, I think something. Anyway, from King County Permitting had suggested that they could come to one of our meetings in July, I think it was.
19th.
My calendar's being funny. My calendar's offset by a week. That doesn't make sense. Anyway, yeah, city attorney.
I believe it was either, well, our council meetings would be the
Yeah.
13th or 27th in July.
Yeah, so one of those dates. At any rate, I don't want to speak for Councilmember Washington's intent. So since that's far enough in the future, I would rather not speak past him to start planning out what the intent was there. Councilmember Holloway.
But I think we know enough of the intent that administration could reach out and I assume the guy's name is Leon. I don't know. Reach out to Leon and say, hey, heard you were interested in coming and talking about the permitting process, particularly around the BESS facility. What would be a good time? Here are our meeting dates, and go from there. I think we know enough of the intent that engagement could occur.
Mayor?
I can do that if you would like. I don't know the content of the discussion that Councilmember Washington had, so I'm kind of a little bit in the dark, but I could sort of make that contact and say, hey, my understanding is some offer was made. Could you tell me what that is?
Yeah,
And I-
Leon knows
you
the
know,
other half of the conversation.
And also
Now-
apologies if I got that name totally wrong.
The director of local services at King County is named Leon Richardson.
Maybe it was, yeah, okay.
He
Richard,
is the director, yeah.
thank you. I'm
Um,
pretty sure that's the right person.
So I'm happy to do that. That's something that yeah, but happy to do that. I think I don't know what the content of the discussion was, but I suspect that likely the thing that he would be willing to talk about or would choose to talk about would be just explaining the process.
Yes.
You know, what are the dates and what triggers dates and, you know, so it's largely likely to be that sort of conversation. I suspect, but I don't know that that he would not be willing to talk about the content of any particular application or anything of that nature. So, you know, we'd want to be sure that everyone's expectations were clear as to what he's likely to speak to, but I'm happy to reach out and do that if you would like me to do that.
I think that that would be appropriate.
Okay.
Thank you, Mayor. Okay, anything else on that? Okay, then that takes us to the review draft city council agenda dated May 26th, 2026. And is that the right date? Yes, it looks like it is. Okay. Starting at 6 o'clock is a roundtable agenda with the call to order and the roll call, Mayor.
So one thing I think you may want to consider is whether you want to allow a longer period for that roundtable. So starting earlier so that you would give yourselves more time. I know it's a long evening, but just wanted to call your attention to the fact that you could start earlier and have a longer meeting there if you wish.
Let's see for that date. Potentially 5:30, Mayor.
Yeah, if I could, I think there is, as you know, a lot of work is being done, so there's increasingly more to inform you about. So there's, and I think as well, you know, lots of questions have been raised both by council members and by the community. And increasingly there's answers or information, you know, addressing those questions. And so, you know, I think that I'm, how do I want to say this? I don't think that you would run out of things to talk about in a longer session.
All right, that's fair. Are we thinking 5:30?
5:30.
5:30? All right. I mean, increase of 50% over the norm. So. Okay, followed by the agenda approval and then the special business of executive session. Mayor.
Just wanted to register my observation on the term "the norm" and how sigh.
Wasn't the intent
No,
originally.
no, I didn't mean to bust your chops. I was just
Yeah.
saying this is the environment we're in.
Yeah, that's exactly right. It wasn't my intent coming into January.
Yeah.
Here
Yeah,
we are.
sorry, just
Mayor.
to be clear, this is the environment we're in and we're all committed to addressing this and doing what we have to do. So
That's why we're doing it.
that's right. I just, yeah, just wanted to.
Sigh. City Attorney.
Thank you. Under our council rules of procedure, a roundtable is 6 to 7 PM. So if we are starting earlier at 5:30, I'd recommend it just be noticed as a special meeting.
Okay. Yeah.
Same result, just
Mhm.
different way it's labeled on the agenda.
Okay, and I don't think that we need to notice that action could be taken or anything like that because we have a council meeting right after where we could do it as appropriate.
Whatever you want within legal bounds.
Yes, exactly. What if we want, which is actually not very much. Okay, next thing is the adjournment of the roundtable agenda, and then the regular agenda starts at 7 PM. Followed by call to order and roll call and the Pledge of Allegiance and the agenda approval. Followed by public hearings, presentations, proclamations, and appointments. We have no public hearings. We do have the appointment. I assume this would be ceremonial, Mayor?
Yes, and then two additional appointment items, I believe. One would be city administrator,
Okay,
and second would be council committee assignments.
yes. Okay, next thing is presentations. We have PSRC presentation on housing and the hospital hub update. I'm just gonna preempt this by scrolling down a little bit to Parks and Public Works and seeing if there was anything down there. That's a snow website, the tree replacement program, urban forestry, and the sidewalk program update that are also presentations, I believe. Mayor?
So the PSRC will not be ready to present on this date, so we'd
Okay.
like to push that out to the following council meeting. The hospital hub update, they will be prepared to, under Parks and Public Works, as you correctly pointed out, there are 5 potential presentations. These are presentations that have been given over the last 5 months to the Parks and Public Works Committee that were sent forward to council, but because of scheduling, you've not been able to fit them in. I would not recommend doing all 5 of them in this meeting, but thought you might want to know which we might recommend. So the 2 I would recommend that you include are the grant application summary on Meadowbrook Bridge. I think that's information you'd very much like to hear as a full council, what's going on with that. And then secondly, I'd suggest the sidewalk program update. I think that might be of most interest to residents as well as council.
Okay, then I am fine with moving those 2 up so that we can continue chipping away at some of those presentations that got pushed back a couple months ago, now that we're finally maybe starting to catch up on a little bit. Councilmember Holloway, any thoughts on that?
No, I like the ideas.
Yep.
And no, they don't all need to happen. We could rent the theater out and sell tickets at popcorn. I don't think they all need to happen at the same time.
All right, perfect. Then we'll make those 3 be the presentations, the hub update, the grant application, and the sidewalk program. Followed by proclamations, of which there is one Pride Month for June 2026. And then we have public comments and requests for items not on the agenda. Council may, of course, suspend the rules to allow for comments that are related to items that are on the agenda, especially related to developments in unincorporated King County. But for public comment, I think that's the thing where we have to suspend the rules to allow
Oh.
comment on, yeah. Yes, and then we may also end up moving things as appropriate. Okay, next thing is the consent agenda. We have minutes for April 29th, 2026, May 6th, 2026, May 11th, 2026, and May 13th, 2026, of which 3 of those are special meeting minutes. Mayor.
We'd also like to add minutes for the retreat, for the
Okay.
council retreat. And to the, and sorry, you're just going over minutes. There's 2 other items for the consent agenda, but that we'd like to add that to the minutes.
Okay, so we've got 5 minutes then to add. There's also the claims report dated May 26th, 2026. And what else, Mayor?
Also items on your, okay, let's make sure we're looking at the same agenda. If you look down at items 12 and 13, it should be 2 agenda bills related to fireworks stand approval.
Yes.
Both of those were sent forward from Public Safety Committee on consent,
Yeah,
so we'd
that's right.
recommend moving those up to consent.
And those are not ordinances.
Correct.
All right. And then looking down under F and A, I don't see anything for consent. Same with Parks and Public Works and CD. Okay. Next thing is ordinances. We have the ordinance
Oh,
amending.
wait,
Yep.
So I'm confused, so under Parks and Public Works says discussion of best moratorium draft ordinance. I don't think that's actually an agenda item. Don't we have the ordinance up above for a second reason? What happened to the moratorium?
Moratorium is 26-027.
Yeah, under Parks and Public Works.
Not Parks and Public Works.
Wherever you would like to put it.
Well, and it,
Do you want committee of the
well,
whole
because
perhaps?
that was an ordinance, doesn't it go up above for first and second reading?
That is a good point.
And it basically comes out of any of the committees.
Yeah, and I was actually looking ahead, there's another one, but we'll get to that in order, so.
So yeah, move that up under ordinances, and I really think it ought to come out of FNA ought to talk it.
Okay.
I just forced that Parks and Public Works had a chance to at least get their thoughts out.
Yeah.
Uh,
Okay, then I am happy to read it in as F and A chair.
Yeah.
Actually, I did, I believe at our last meeting for first reading, so. Yeah, that'd be appropriate. Okay, next thing would be the ordinance amending the 2025-2026 biennial budget. I like this little tagline stating what that's about the new CD position perhaps.
Will do.
Okay, next thing is public safety. Under committee reports, we have AB 26-020 interlocal agreement for Issaquah Jail amendment. And this is for an interlocal agreement that would not be an ordinance. Correct?
Right.
Okay,
Just a contract.
okay. And we moved those other two items about the fireworks stand up to,
Or the e-cycle. Yeah, we moved those
Yeah.
other two.
and then we have AB 26-025, which is an ordinance e-cycle amendment. So does that ordinance also need to move up, Mayor?
That item just comes off. That was
Okay, it's just not
got
ready.
on here prematurely. Yeah, the agenda bill has not gone.
Written yet. It was discussion in public safety. It hadn't had the
Okay,
agenda
that's
bill
just not
written
ready.
yet. So that comes off.
Okay, excellent. Community Development Committee had a wonderful discussion with Burke, but nothing to move forward. I thought it was very productive, but nothing to move forward to council yet. We're gonna have fun with that in November. Then we've got Parks and Public Works Committee. We moved up the best moratorium ordinance to ordinances. We already talked about the presentations, so we'll just continue with the snow website, the tree replacement program, and urban forestry improvement programs on a cycle
Okay.
to occur later.
Yes, to occur later.
Yep. But we are chipping into those presentations, so that's good. Mayor,
Don't worry, we have more coming.
no, I figured. That's why we got to get through them, to make space. Okay, next.
Backlog. It's
Next thing is F and A. We have the flood event update, but there was nothing. I'll just mention that when we get to the council meeting. And then we have the discussion of potential best land use in unincorporated UGA. That will likely be a separate conversation from specifically the ordinance. So that'll be kind of chair's job to navigate what's on topic about which thing. There's a decent chance that both of those items will get moved up to being immediately after public comment, but that'll be a decision for council to do.
Which
Mayor.
both items?
Oh, the ordinance with the moratorium and the discussion of the best land use in general.
So the ordinance
already up
is already up.
No, I'm saying is, it is likely the council will move to have those be immediately following public comment, but we'll get there when we get there. We would have to amend the agenda when we get to the council meeting to do that.
Oh, as opposed to after the consent agenda, you're saying? Oh, I
Correct,
see.
but that will be something that council may or may not take action on when we get there. All right, next thing is, yes, Mayor.
You had earlier in this committee meeting discussed the notion of having a discussion of best working group.
Ooh, yes, that should that be a separate thing from the discussion?
From moratorium and stuff, yes, let's have it under FNA.
Okay. Mayor,
And then if it's okay with you, just to help me manage the schedule on Monday night, if we could have discussion of potential, if we could have that come before item 22, just sequencing, if you don't mind, it'll just help me manage the sequencing on Monday.
okay,
What's item 22?
Discussion of potential best land use in unincorporated UGA. Is it not 22 up there?
Yeah, the numbers have been floating around tonight. Okay,
all right,
sure.
okay, so
Oh,
administration's,
yeah, we'll put them,
preference is
the
put
two,
in that
they'll be
order.
right there. We'll just put them, yeah.
21.5, yeah.
I'm good with that. Okay, then we do not have anything else under committee of the whole. Following that is reports. We have mayor's report, followed by commission and committee liaison reports, and then finally director reports. Is there anything else under reports, Mayor?
We will have director reports in the package, given the length of the agenda. I don't have anything particularly noteworthy under mayor's report. There's a lot of activity, but perhaps you don't need that on the agenda?
For mayor's report?
It's up to you. You may be exhausted at
you.
that point.
Yeah.
Up to you.
Yeah, I'll leave that up to mayor's discretion, and when we get there, if mayor says it's in the packet or something,
Well,
fine with that.
I'm not preparing a written,
Right, it should be in the template. If you're saying
Yeah.
I'm not going to do work to do that, then we ought to take it off this agenda. But it ought to be a standing agenda item we consider every time we have this discussion.
I
in
see what you're
FNA.
saying.
So, but for
Uh,
next
okay.
agenda, if, yes, Jim, you got enough, you got fish to fry.
That's fine.
So this fish can
Yeah. All right, I'm fine with that, yeah.
be salted and put somewhere.
Okay, then we have no executive session currently listed there. Is there any intent for executive session at this point?
Just a placeholder. in
Just
case.
placeholder, yep. And then finally is adjournment. And that'll be plenty. All right, then that is the agenda. Any other thoughts on the agenda? All right, seeing none. That takes us to the end of our agenda tonight as well. And unless there's objection, we are adjourned at 6:57. Thank you all for being here.